Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Sophia. Let's pull some shadow cards, explore the conscious and unconscious mind, our inner psyche, the shadow self, and how we operate from our own dislikes, insecurities, pain, disappointments, sorrow, trauma, and then we project those emotions and feelings onto others. This is why there is so much chaos in the world. Let's get into this. All right, we're going to pull from Shadow is what shadow does. Right? Because shadow is what shadow does. Right. Maybe I should put that there. Okay. I am going to shuffle the cards and we're going to pull two. I'm trying to make this quick, but informative for you. Okay? Right. Confusing, doubt, silence. Trust how something made you feel. Stop explaining yourself. Start writing things down. This is if you're dealing with a manipulator who brings on confusing thoughts, doubt, and silence. Uses silence to control you. Okay? And this is where you need to, they gaslight you. You need to stop explaining yourself. They're not going to listen. And you need to start writing things down so that you can remember. Because when you deal with manipulators and gaslighters, you literally will question your own reality. These type of evil people, I call them evil, soulless evil people. They're masterminds when it comes to that type of influence. When you heal the inner psyche and don't care, these soulless humans have attachments, and it's usually archonic influences. These are the dark souls, the darkness of the world. They operate, they attach themselves. They're parasitic entities that attach themselves to people, and this is where they operate. They control through the inner psyche, the mind. This is not by mistake. This is true facts. Okay? Church, religion calls it the devil, right? It's the devil energy. But more than that, it's the inner psyche, known as the shadow. The dark side of the psyche contains repressed instincts and qualities we deny in ourselves but project onto others. What we hide in ourselves, we hate in others. This is the distortion of the conscious ego, the inner psyche, the shadow self. And this is where integration is so important, because archonic influences, entities, darkness, well, not darkness, but evil, doesn't show up in your life, giving you karmic lessons to go through over and over. No, we don't need to live like that. We don't need to go through karmic lessons over and over. We need to learn the lesson and move on. That's life. Life is a big school, and we learn through darkness. We learn lessons through the hardships. This is how our soul grows, and it's important because we can be our true, authentic selves with wisdom, with everything that we learned, whether it be good or bad, negative or positive. Earth's polarity, one can't exist without the other. We all have personas. This is the social mask or the role we represent to the world. And everyone has a persona and everyone has a mask. Some are more toxic than others. Some wear a mask where sometimes they're hurting inside and they don't want to let everyone know that they're hurting. They're trying to be strong for themselves. And that's okay to do, but make sure that you get that energy out of your body, because it can become stuck energy and it can fester into illnesses and stuff like that. So journal, get all your emotions out is a good way to keep yourself healthy, your mind, your heart. But there is a social mask where people that are in their inner psyche, the shadow is in the driver's seat, and that mask can be more toxic, and it's mainly influenced by archons, okay, the dark forces of this world. And this is where they show up in these types of people: the narcissists, the sociopaths, the psychopaths, and the dark empaths. Not all dark empaths are bad. They're only bad and use their gifts against people, their emotions, people's emotions against them, is when they're imbalanced. Okay? That's the only way that they are bad, dark empaths, is when they're imbalanced. So let's pull a card. And sociopaths run on impulse, aggression, and anger. And that's why they end up in jail a lot, because they don't think. Where the sociopaths, they're successful, they're more strategic in their planning. So they're dangerous. Okay, they're very cunning and calculating in their whole persona, that mask. And all these types of evil people, soulless people who can't generate their own light, they operate in a distorted ego. Okay, so let's get a card. And we got the key traits of a sociopath. They're impulsive, emotionally reactive, prone to anger and aggression, struggle to form attachments, may have conscious. Okay, they may have a conscious, but they struggle to apply it, which means they don't care. Their conscience does not get to them. They'll have a second little moment of truth, but they'll revert right back to their distorted ways. And they can't help it, because a lot of them have attachments. So we're going to pull from the inner psyche prompts. We're going to pull 3 inner psyche prompts, and you can write these inner psyche prompts in your journal. What's something you're often embarrassed to admit to others? What's something you're often embarrassed to admit to others? Let's get another one. And you can write that in your journal, and that will help you if you have shame, attachments. This will help release. Our inner psyche is like an onion. We must peel it, okay, to get to the root core of our inner psyche. By peeling it and getting to the root core and integrating it, you become whole. Total awareness of self and who you are and why you're here. Once you accept all of you through integration, you operate authenticity. In your authenticity, and your purpose finds you. True freedom. Your inner world becomes alive and full of love, and that attracts your outer world. Heaven on earth. Who or what makes you sad in life? It's time to get happy. No one should make you sad. And if they are, get rid of them. Toss them to the side. And if you don't have enough courage to do that, once you integrate your shadow and your light, your shadow will do it for you. Not in a mean way. It still shows love because you're integrating it with the light. You just quietly move away. You don't owe anyone anything. Let's get another card, okay? What did your parents or guardians ask of you growing up? Now remember, our inner world reflects our outer world. And what we dislike in others is what we dislike in ourselves. And I have a story. So I met a friend at the park, and these two women were approaching, and I didn't see anything wrong with them, but my so-called friend, who isn't my friend anymore, but she started projecting, and this is a good example. So the two ladies were walking, and then they passed us, and then she started to project her own insecurities, her own dislikes on this woman. There was two, but there was just one that she really directed all of the insults to. And it was because she was body shaming her and the way she was dressed. And honestly, there was nothing wrong with her. I thought she looked nice. She had a really beautiful body. She was dressed elegantly in a outdoor, exercising attire. I didn't think she looked bad at all. She looked really, really nice. But because this so-called friend was not secure in her own body, she had a lot of body shaming growing up, and she projected that. So that is a very good example of how the inner psyche, the shadow self, operates distortedly. And I just wanted to bring that up so that you guys can get a good sense of what I'm talking about in regards to the inner psyche being distorted and how we project our own dislikes, insecurities, pain, disappointments, sorrows, trauma onto others. And this is why there's so much chaos in the world. Everyone's trauma responding and projecting. Yeah. And it's time to stop. It's time to heal and stop that projecting onto others. And so we're going to pull some famous quotes. I hope you guys can see that. Alright, let's get some famous quotes. Where we fell. What do we got? To awaken is to remember that what you seek is already within you. And that is so true. When I went on my awakening journey, my healing journey, it was my higher self, my higher soul that helped me go through everything. I didn't have anyone to turn to. I honestly didn't know what I was experiencing. And I started, it started with praying and just sitting quietly, but then it became meditating. And that is the proper way, because we teach our mind and our bodies to be conscious. And this is something that we need to learn how to do when we cross over, when we leave this earth, because we become conscious. So to awaken is to remember that what you seek is already within you. And the divine seed of consciousness, Christ consciousness, is within you. Okay, so let's pull another famous quote, and that is Thoth. He was a deity from Egypt. And the reason why I was led to him is because out of all the deities that I read on, I really resonated with him because he was all about the inner light, going within and receiving pure consciousness with the monad, which is our Father. And you'll learn that once you start going within. You know, we all come from different places. We bump into soulless men and women at every step in life. Helen Blavatsky. She was a spiritualist in the early 1800s, mid 1800s, and my higher self brought her to me. All these things that I've learned, it was through the higher self, my higher self. We have an oversoul, a higher self, and then your soul. My understanding is the higher self and the oversoul, they don't come. They're up there in connections with the divinity, with the Father, with whomever you have your contracts with, your spiritual guides, your anyone that's there to assist you of love and light. Okay, you can't call upon anything because you need to be very careful. You must call upon the love and the light in the higher realms, not anything in the lower realms. No deities. You must know what you're doing. And Thoth, it was a deity, but he was a good deity. He was all about going within to seek God and connect to your higher self. And that's the only reason why I related to him. And Isis, she was all about protecting women and children. She's another goddess. You got to remember there was lots of gods and goddesses that were here before us. Okay, so let's pull a healing message. I'm going to shuffle. So your higher soul will connect you. Okay? And I'm just about, my channel is about integration and connecting to your higher self so that you can heal and go on your spiritual journey with your higher self. It's not going to be the same as mine because we're all different. I'm a Heyoka Empath, and I come from higher realms. That's what was revealed to me, and who I pray to, the Father and the Holy Spirit Mother. This is Belos and the Monad, pure consciousness. You might not resonate with that because a lot of times we're still in that limiting belief system. I was brought up Catholic, and when I went on my healing journey and spiritual awakening, no, I was steered wrong, and I knew it as a child. So everyone's different. And this, I am brave, I am strong, and I face every challenge on my path knowing God's love guides me and guards me. I am protected. Your inner world reflects your outer world. Remember that. When you're dealing with people, just remember that are acting in a chaotic way. How people treat you is their karma. How you respond is yours. And that is true free will. We have a light, we have a shadow within us. And that is the true essence of our free will. We decide how we're going to operate every day. And me, I have a light and my dark, my shadow, and I operate in my light. But I'm integrated, balanced. I know darkness and I know light and I know evil. It's different. Dark, light, evil, different. Evil is usually orchestrated by archonic influences, entities, and parasitic negative energies. Okay? And so it's important to know the difference. We have light and dark in us because We were created by a God who had the ability to create because he is the offspring of the light being, Sophia, who fell from the pleroma and birthed Earth, which the Greeks named her Gaia. Okay, and she had an offspring because she wanted to create, and she created the God in the Hebrew Bible. That is her offspring. He has many names, and he created as well when he was here in the void, third dimension, which is Earth. So let's get, and that's on a different level of information that you may not even be ready for. So let's get a bedtime affirmation. I am in my bed, free from the worries of the day. I am grateful for the lessons it brought. Sleep restores my mind, body, and soul. Tomorrow is full of new possibilities. I am grateful for the gift of rest. Yes, you are. And I'm going to pull some lost gospels from the Nag Hammadi library. And these are gospels that didn't make it in the Bible, but they are gospels that were found in 1945. These are things that were brought to my attention, and I use the lost gospels because the gospels that I grew up with, I didn't relate to any of them. The kingdom of heaven is within you and all around you, not in mansions of wood and stone. Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift a stone, and you will find me. The Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas was one of the books they found in 1945. It was buried for over 1,600 years, and it is amazing. It is nothing like the Gospels in the Bible, which are confusing. They've always been that way to me, but this made so much sense to me. And we're going to end this with Holy Spirit, I give love and light to my inner psyche, my shadow self, and I lovingly work through all insecurities, flaws, and self-destructive habits that cause me to not flow in the ways in which I was created. I honor those parts of my shadow self and give love to it so it may excel in a life of abundance and not hold me back from my opportunities, prosperity, or wealth that are mine by divine right. Once you accept all of you through integration, you operate in authenticity, and your purpose finds you. Our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions are energy in motion. So be careful what you create. Most importantly, take time to tune into your body and recognize the messages it's trying to send you. Please like, subscribe, and thank you.